story developing, the parliamentary inquiry into the possible impeachment of the Public Protector. Today it's heard from a constitutional law expert giving evidence on whether she overstepped the boundaries of her office while executing her duties. Athi Mtongana in that hearing for us. Athi, good afternoon. What's the latest?
Well, a very good afternoon to you, Stephen. Right at the beginning of Mr. Hassine Abraham's testimony or cross-examination with Advocate Dali Mpofu, he immediately questioned whether he is actually a constitutional expert or not, and that became, of course, much of a discussion when he cross-examined him. He obviously earlier on, Mr. Abraham, given the role of the Public Protector as per the Constitution, he's the first witness to be called into the Section 194 committee in Parliament as they begin probing the fitness of Advocate Busisiwe Mkhwebane to hold office. I'm joined by the FF Plus, Mr. Mulder. Thank you so much for your time. Now, we heard that cross-examination between Advocate Mpofu, cross-examining Mr. Abraham. In some instances, you even came in. What are you taking issue with in particular?
I'm taking issue with the fact that Mr. Mpofu is trying to undermine the credibility of Mr. Abraham. He's trying to convince us that he's not an expert. Now, let me tell you with all due respect, my doctorate is in constitutional law. And I can assure you that the evidence given by Mr. Abraham today and the document he produced to the committee is currently the best written document in terms of the Office of the Public Protector. It's up to date, it's dealing with all the court cases, it is an expert document. How do you get expertise? Either by having studied and you've qualified yourself, or secondly, because you were there. And if you look at what Mr. Abraham indicated, he was there throughout. I remember back in 1994 when we wrote the Constitution, I was here, a much younger member. Mr. Abraham was here as well. He's got the expertise, he's got the experience throughout, and trying to undermine his expertise is not going to succeed as far as I'm concerned. The document speaks for itself. It's based on the provisions of the law, it's based on the provisions of the Constitution, it's based on the pronouncements by the different courts and the different judgments.
Based on what has transpired so far, Mr. Abraham is still the first witness. You're looking at going into the program that you have adopted, but looking at how things have transpired in the past 2 days, do you think that you are on par with the program that you drafted in February?
I think so. It's quite clear that the strategy from the Public Protector's Office, I think, or from Mr. Mpofu, is using the opportunity now to cross-examine. And the first 2 days, the first day was basically opening statements, and both parties had an opportunity, the defense people as well as the evidence leaders, to put this case on the table. The evidence of Mr. Abraham is basically to give us a background in terms of where does the Office of the Public Protector comes from. It's a general kind of truth in that regard. As from tomorrow, we will start dealing with specific evidence, and that's a different thing, and we will be up there. The problem is that Mr. Mpofu should realize this is not a court. This is not a quasi-judicial process. This is Parliament.
No, but he's been given that opportunity as per the judgment at the Western Cape High Court. The Public Protector wouldn't have had legal representation. He's also made claims of bias from the side of the committee, saying that even outside the committee, MPs have made pronouncements of guilt and lack of confidence in Advocate Mkhwebane. And other accusations from the public domain then are that MPs are politicizing this very important matter, which is the first of its kind for Parliament. Do you think you as MPs will be able to put your personal issues or whatever grievances some of the MPs have raised about the Public Protector aside to make sure that you follow what you're supposed to do?
Absolutely. We are professional. The Public Protector's Office may still find that. We are quite professional what we are doing. We are not representing ourselves in this committee. We are representing Parliament as an institution. And we are proud to represent Parliament, and we're doing what we are expected to do in terms of the Constitution. And we will go through the process. It's unfortunate that if there are any suggestions in terms of bias or unfairness, I said to Advocate Mpofu yesterday, fairness. If you're not happy with the outcome of the process, and nobody knows what the outcome is going to be, but if you're not happy, fairness and due process will not be issues that you will be able to appeal on, because we know exactly what we are doing.
right, Mr. Mulder, thank you so much for your time. Well, Stephen, we'll continue shortly before this interview with the FF Plus, Mr. Mulder. Eskom load shedding, so they had to go on a tea break. But I understand now, even though the lights are not back on inside where the Section 194 committee is currently having its hearings, it's still dark, but MPs hopefully will be able to continue with their work regardless of the electricity problem that many South Africans are experiencing. So the proceedings now will continue, and again tomorrow there will be a new witness that will be called forward.
Athi Mtongana, thank you. These are live pictures now, of course, of what's happening inside during the break. What's really a sort of tea break. I'm not entirely sure how the tea is hot if there's load shedding, but it seems that Parliament sometimes can do the most magical of things. Okay.